In hospitals and care facilities all across the globe, there's a kind of hidden epidemic going on. But it's not affecting the patients, it's affecting the very people who are there to take care of them. It's an epidemic of injury, of pure exhaustion and chronic pain, and it's all being driven by a huge misunderstanding of what it really takes to keep our caregivers safe.
So, what if the one thing we've always been told, lift with your legs, not your back? What if that's not just an incomplete picture, but actually a failing strategy? A strategy that's putting millions of dedicated professionals at risk every single day. Let's really dig into why this old belief is starting to crumble under the weight of the actual science.
So, before we can even begin to talk about a solution, we have to get our heads around just how big this problem really is. And it turns out it's a full blown crisis, hiding in plain sight inside our healthcare institutions. The enemy we're talking about here has a name: musculoskeletal disorders, or MSDs. And this isn't about one single accident. It's the result of repeated damage, this slow accumulation of tiny injuries over a long time. Think of it like a slow, grinding wear and tear on your body's machinery. It shows up as aching, numbness, chronic pain, and it usually hits the back, the shoulders, and the neck. Yep, the exact parts of the body a caregiver relies on most.
So, just how big of a deal are these MSDs? Well, this number is just staggering. According to the data on workplace injuries, musculoskeletal injuries account for 68% of all serious claims in the health and social care industry. Just let that sink in for a second. Not some of them, not even most of them. A massive two-thirds majority of all serious injuries are this specific type of physical breakdown. That's a huge red flag that what we're currently doing just isn't working.
So, what's actually causing all this? Well, the risk is literally woven into the daily life of a caregiver. It's the constant bending, the twisting, the reaching. It's pushing heavy beds and pulling equipment down endless hallways. It's doing thousands of the same movements over and over again. And a lot of times doing all of this in really cramped, tight spaces. But the single biggest culprit, the number one cause of this whole crisis, is manual patient handling. The physical act of lifting, transferring, and repositioning people without any mechanical help.
For decades, our main weapon in this fight has been training. We teach caregivers about biomechanics, about the so-called proper lifting techniques, and on the surface, that seems totally logical, right? But what if the science tells a completely different story? This is what's known as the training paradox.
And look, this conclusion isn't just one person's opinion. It comes from a huge 2024 meta-analysis. Now, that's a massive study that pulls together the data from lots of other high-quality studies. It's pretty much the highest form of scientific evidence you can get. And its conclusion is an absolute bombshell. The way we've been training people, this thing that's supposed to be the cornerstone of injury prevention, it might actually be an ineffective strategy for stopping new injuries from happening in the first place.
Okay, this is the really crucial part. This doesn't mean training is completely worthless. The research points to a very specific and pretty limited benefit. For a caregiver who is already dealing with pain, this kind of training might help them manage it a little better. But here's the paradox. For a healthy caregiver, someone who isn't injured, the evidence is clear that this training does not prevent new injuries from happening. It's more of a therapy than a preventative measure. It's like teaching someone how to put on a bandage better after they've already been cut, instead of, just preventing the cut from ever happening. Pause for 2 seconds.
So, if teaching proper lifting isn't the answer to prevention, what is? Well, the evidence points to something much bigger, much more comprehensive. It's not about trying to make caregivers into bodybuilders. It's about fundamentally changing the work itself. The real solution is what's called a systems approach.
A really successful safe patient handling and mobility program, they call it an SPHM program, isn't just one single thing. It's a whole system, and it's built on three essential pillars. First up, a culture of safety. This has to start from the very top, with leaders who are committed to policies like minimal lift, making safety a real priority. Second, engineering controls. This is just a fancy way of saying you need the right tools, the right equipment to basically design the physical strain right out of the job. And third, behavioral controls. This is where education comes back in, but it's different now. It's all about training staff on how to use the new equipment and follow the safety rules within this new system.
And this image right here illustrates the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way. You see two caregivers physically straining, using their own bodies to move a patient. But on the right, you see the system's approach in action. The same caregivers are now using an overhead lift. They're guiding, not lifting. The physical force, the strain, has been almost completely eliminated. The risk has been engineered right out of the task.
And these engineering controls, this equipment, it comes in a few different forms. Some of the most powerful solutions are what we're seeing here. On the left, that's a ceiling-mounted lift. It runs on a track system and can cover a whole room. On the right, that's a portable gantry lift, which is a great, flexible solution for places where you can't install something permanent. But they both do the same critical job. They take the load off the caregiver.
And among all the technology out there, there is a clear winner. Ceiling lifts are pretty much universally considered the gold standard. Why? Well, because they require the absolute least amount of force from the caregivers. Plus, they don't take up any precious floor space, and you can set up the tracks to move patients almost anywhere. They are the single most effective tool we have to fight this injury crisis. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil it all down to the three most important things to take away from this. First, these musculoskeletal injuries are a genuine crisis, and it's mainly caused by manually handling patients. Second, the old way, just training on proper lifting, is fundamentally flawed as a way to prevent injuries. And third, the solution that's actually proven to work is a complete system that combines a safety culture, the right equipment, and the right education. So, just to make sure these key ideas really stick, let's run through a few quick questions. First question, we kick things off with this stat to really show the scale of the problem. What percentage of serious injury claims in health and social care are actually MSDs? Is it A, 28%, B, 48%, C, 68%, or D, 88%? The correct answer is C, 68%. That's more than 2 out of every 3 serious claims. This one number really hammers home why focusing on preventing MSDs is just absolutely critical for the health of our entire healthcare workforce. All right, next question. This one gets right to the heart of that training paradox. What did that huge 2024 meta-analysis find about training for workers who are not already injured? Was it A, that it's highly effective, B, that it's an ineffective strategy for prevention, C, that it's only effective if you do it quarterly, or D, that it completely gets rid of back pain? And the answer is B. Yep. The highest level of scientific evidence concluded that this kind of training is an ineffective strategy for preventing new injuries. You got to remember that crucial difference. It might help someone who's already in pain, but it's not a protective shield for the rest of the healthy workforce. Question 3 is all about the tools of the trade. We talked about how engineering controls are a key part of the solution. So, which specific piece of tech is considered the gold standard? Is it A, friction-reducing sheets, B, gait belts, C, portable floor-based lifts, or D, ceiling lifts? And the correct answer is D, ceiling lifts.
They absolutely earn that gold standard title because they're the best at taking the physical load off the caregiver. They don't clutter up the floor, and they're incredibly versatile.
Okay, next up, we know the solution is a big system built on 3 pillars. Your job is to spot the one that doesn't belong. Which of these is not one of the 3 core pillars of an SPHM program? Is it A, engineering controls, B, a culture of safety, C, behavioral controls, or D, annual biomechanics testing?
The correct answer here is D. That proven framework for success is all about having a real culture of safety, the right engineering controls, which means equipment, and the right behavioral controls, which is the education and the rules for using that new system. All right, last question, just a straightforward one to wrap it all up. What does that key acronym, SPHM, actually stand for? Is it A, B, C, or D? The answer is C, safe patient handling and mobility. And that's not just some corporate jargon. It really represents the entire philosophy we've been talking about, a complete, evidence-based approach that protects caregivers from getting hurt while also improving the care that patients receive. So, we've seen the problem, we've busted the old myth, and we've outlined the solution that is actually proven to work. The science couldn't be clearer. The technology already exists. So the final question really isn't about what to do, it's about how we do it. Knowing everything that we know now, what's it actually going to take to make this system the non-negotiable standard of care in every single hospital, in every single facility? That's the real challenge ahead of us.